Hey friends, you're watching BrainStormAcres. I'm more than irritated Henry. I'll tell you more about that, but first I'm going to finish putting this new blade in the skill saw that I'm going to be using today to make that cutout in the bracket that I'm busy making for the diesel heater. If you've never changed a blade in a skill saw or another reciprocating saw that's used to cut holes, there are a lot of different ways of fixing a saw blade to a tool like this. Now the skill saw that I have, which is, I guess we probably bought this maybe 20 years ago or something like this. Is a heavy duty skill saw. It's worked great. We continue to use it. It has a little bit of an oil leak, but that's not a big deal. It's only accumulated over the past probably 15 years, so that's pretty good. Now there's a set screw on the side that goes into the holder for the saw blade. You can just loosen that up, pull the old blade out, put the new blade in, which is what I just did, and then tighten it down. Well, let's talk about why I'm irritated. You know, we've been publishing content on YouTube for pretty close to 5 years now. And in that time, we've had very, very few complaints about the shows that we've uploaded. In fact, I think we've maybe had 3 or 4 out of the more than 1,100 shows that we've put up. But this weekend, actually last Friday, I got a flurry of copyright claims from a particular company. I'm not going to name them right now, but what that means is that there's somebody who's claiming that a piece of audio or video that's in our shows is their property, it's their copyright, so I owe them money. And well, that's not the case. The audio that we use in our shows and have been using for close to 5 years is licensed through our video editor supplier. It's one of the assets that comes with the package that we bought. So this company has no claim on that audio. Now, unfortunately, because they hide behind their ability to not be disclosed, that is to tell you what the audio is, I have to go listen to every single complaint that they put in for the specific piece of audio, and all of them are the same thing. So that means I get to go in and put a complaint in with YouTube saying, that's licensed property. This other company has no right to block our content. So that's what I've been doing an awful lot for the past 4 days. And yeah, it really irritates me because they have no legal right. Now, if this were a legal case, like going to court, it'd be very simple for me to say, Your Honor, here's my license. Let them show where they have the ownership. And the case would be dismissed with prejudice, meaning that the case would be over and they wouldn't be able to bring it again, at least against me. Well, what happens with YouTube is YouTube says, our hands are clean. We don't look at this stuff. It's between you and the copyright owner. So those words right there say that they assume that the person making the claim is the legitimate copyright owner. In this case, they're not. And it's irritating. It's a lot of wasted time. It's time I don't want to spend doing that, but it has to be done. So I have probably, I would guess, 50, 60 complaints that I've put back in. Every single one of them has to be filled out. I have to sign, I have to send them back in, and then I wait. I might have to wait for 30 days, but fortunately, this particular company has been releasing their copyright claims. But it still means I have a stack more to do. Now, unfortunately, YouTube and that copyright owner, they're not a copyright owner, this is not their property. In any case, YouTube presumes that the person making the claim against a YouTube creator is a legitimate copyright owner. That's what their paperwork says. That's what their documents say. That's not true. It's not the case, but Nevertheless, you are at a disadvantage. Now, fortunately, this company is being responsive, but you know, the problem with YouTube and that copyright system is that's managed by bots. Nobody has to go look at my content. They just run it through their bot. They go throughout the entire YouTube community looking for their intellectual property. Then they issue a copyright claim. They don't even tell you what the title of the song is. They don't even tell you what the artist is. And I find that to be objectionable. Well, that's enough of that rant. Let's get on with making this bracket. So I've just changed the blade in my skill saw. I need to cut out this section of the plywood right here. But there's no hole in here, and that saw just goes right straight up and down. I'm going to drill some holes in this plywood that goes right up against those lines. I want to make sure that my drill is big enough that this blade will go through. I just hold it up and, yeah, sure enough it does. Make sure I'm not trying to drill through any steel. This is on the lift gate. This is my impromptu workbench. I use this quite a lot. It's nice to work outside, and it is convenient. There's one hole drill. Now I could cut this entire thing out by starting here and running the saw down, going around the corner here and cutting it out that way, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and drill all four corners so I can just cut down this way, turn, come back over, and complete the cut. Now I have 4 holes that I can use to cut this interior part of the plywood out. One of the things I did when I was busy changing the blade on that skill saw was I unplugged the tool. The reason for that is it's pretty easy to make a mistake and turn the tool on. Even if you have a safety on it that locks it out, you can make a mistake and cut yourself. A lot of homestead safety is taking a few more steps that might be not as convenient as you might like. And the saw works. You know, I could have checked that before I started doing this piece of the show, but I figure seeing some things go right and maybe some things go wrong is a reasonable thing to do because we want to show you real life. And you know what? It looks like I might have broken another blade. Well, I'm going to see if the blade is down on the bottom. First, I unplug my saw, and I'm going to look for that blade. And there it is. Now, fortunately, I didn't break the blade. But unfortunately, one of the problems of working on dirt like this is that sometimes these little pieces are hard to see. It looks like this set screw loosened up. Or I might not have had the blade in exactly the right position. There's a little divot in the blade. It's actually an opening that is supposed to lock in. And of course the saw doesn't work if you don't plug it in. Now, there are a lot of ways to cut a hole like this out. This isn't perfect. I didn't necessarily follow all the lines as closely as I could have, particularly on this side over here. I could cut that back a little bit more, but you know, the real story here is I want to make sure there's enough room for this plate to be screwed or bolted to the plywood. And that's going to hold just fine. There's plenty of strength in this plywood. Now, Irene pays close attention to detail, and when she was looking at this show last night before I loaded it up, she noticed that this hole right here didn't seem to line up with the fittings on the heater. It actually does. Some of those fittings, and particularly the one that goes to the diesel fuel inlet, is twisted a little bit to the side, so that I need to make sure that that opening goes over that nipple so that everything can be connected the right way. Well, I saw that Irene just went up to the greenhouse, so I'm going to stop here because I'm going to need to go do some things in the greenhouse with this. I don't want to interrupt what she's doing, but we'll go see what she's doing, and then I'll see if there's still time to do more on the diesel heater install.
Okay. Oops. I'll fall out the door. Hi, Jack. What you doing? Says I was touring the yard with a cat. It was funny. The two of them wandered out together this morning, and they just were walking around the yard together. I'm like, okay. You want to come to the greenhouse with me? He says, yeah, I do. So we're going to go check things out, see how things are going. Things change up because of weather. The hoses that were here all summer to provide water for the greenhouse and the greenhouse cooler are now gone. Oh, a bunny. Hi, bunny. I saw that bunny here the other day too. Don't worry, I didn't eat you the other day. I won't eat you this morning either. And I have a pile of hoses in the way. Okay. Well, I know why they're here. He's going to let them heat up in the sun, and then we can straighten them out. Now, that means that there was no water in here this morning for irrigation. And what's the temperature going to be here today? Currently 58 degrees. I don't think it's 58 degrees here. But that's the national forest. So a lot of times the information is not correct. Let's see, daily. High of 66. Okay. Okay, that's not bad. Let me go see if I can get the silly dog in. I'm herding the dog. There we go. Jeez Louise. Okay. Yeah, Henry said he was going to come out and water the plants today, and I said, I'll tell you what, I'll come out and do it because I need to check to see if we have anything else ripe. Because if there's more ripe tomatoes, then I can clear things out. So, let's see how we look. How's our cucumbers doing? Cucumbers are doing pretty good here. Let's see. I let these hang down farther than I usually would have because I didn't want them up close to the plastic. Even though heat rises, if they touch the plastic, it'll hurt them. There we go. Got at least a couple. This one doesn't, the yellow ones did not make. But some of the other ones may. We'll see how that goes. The heater's still running. That's awesome. Set this up here. I'm going to open up the vent at the south end of the greenhouse because ours will take advantage of natural ventilation. half ripe do their thing better. Okay, these are not completely ripe. These are touchy, but I have a place where I can ripen them in the house.